asked you this before, but it still seems pertinent. Do you care if you're in the top 4 or not? And have you given up?
Oh, mate, you really think that's a harsh term, give up. What does that mean? That I come in here at 12 o'clock, have a latte and then go home and just let the guys train? I mean, I don't give up in anything, mate. I'm here fighting tooth and nail every single day for everything I can get for this football club, because that's my responsibility. I would not give up on any cause, even the most lost of causes, because then I'd be abstaining from my responsibility. So I want us to finish the season strong. I want us to try and win 3 games of football and see where that takes us. I'd never said that I didn't care about finishing top 4. What I said was that finishing top 4 does not mean we're going to be the team I want us to be next year. That's not what's going to define us. So I don't give up, and I'd be surprised if anyone in my position at this level would go in with anything other than 100% commitment to fight for everything, because if you don't, invariably you fail.
It's just that there is this theory, and again we've asked before, that in terms of what you develop, then Champions League might be a bigger league for you than the Europa League.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that, but it doesn't mean you don't want to finish as high as possible and get into the best possible competition. But that, I guess, was my point, was that finishing 4th and getting to the Champions League does not make you a Champions League club, in my opinion. It just gives you an opportunity to be in there. To me, to be a Champions League club, what I mean by that is at that level requires more than just finishing 4th in 1 year, as far as I'm concerned. It means, and do I believe right now we're a Champions League football club? No, we're not. That's my honest belief. I think we need, as I keep saying, we've still got work to do. But that doesn't mean I didn't want us to make Champions League. With that's self-defeating in terms of what I'm trying to create. But had we made Champions League, or should we make Champions League this year and finish 4th, it isn't going to change my view about where we're at and what we need to do in the summer. And that's still sort of real clear in my head.
Can I also ask, just, when you talk about scrutiny, the Premier League being a little bit different, is there a good example of that?
This room, mate.
Is there an example of that that doesn't include this room?
But in terms of the interest there is in it. So I mean, in Japan or in Scotland, the press conferences were a lot smaller. So I think you guys are reflective of the interest in the game. Like, there's so much more sort of platforms now. I mean, now more than ever, I guess, because they're not just the official platforms. There's the unofficial platforms that are just as vocal. Where, like I said, everyone watches the Premier League. Doesn't matter where you are. I'd hazard to guess that you guys aren't always following the J League, but in Japan they're following the Premier League. Everyone watches Celtic Rangers. Maybe they don't always watch the whole of the Scottish Premiership, but everyone in Scotland follows stuff down here. So that's all I mean. I mean, it's the most visible sporting competition in the world, I believe. So when I talk about scrutiny, I just mean that there are physically a lot more eyes on it. Therefore, there's a lot more opinion on it. Therefore, there's a lot more scrutiny around that as a consequence.
I'll finish with John, please.
Do you think the criticism that's come your way in the last 4 games has been harsh then?
No, I think it is what it is. I've never measured kind of, because as I've said all along, it doesn't change my approach. I feel that, whether it's supporters, whether it's people who are following the game, whether it's people who analyse the game, have a right to have a say. And if they feel that I'm somehow falling short, or I'm not sort of performing my duties in the right way, or if I've made mistakes, then I think they're allowed to say it. But I'm also allowed to not pay any attention to it. Not because I don't respect it, but I just don't think it's relevant to me. And the reason I keep saying that is because, and I always kind of temper my if I do hear of anything that comes my way that is less than complimentary, I always kind of sit back and go, at the same time, whoever's making that opinion or making that assumption, doesn't have all the information I have. So I'm always dealing with all the information. So what may seem illogical from the outside to me, you know, is very logical, but you're not to know that. But if people want to criticise, if people want to question, I think that's their right. It doesn't affect me, and it certainly doesn't sort of change what I'm sort of my approach and what I'm trying to achieve. And at the same time, plenty of people are saying good things about me when things are going well. So, you know, I can't turn around and say, well, no, don't criticise me, but then accept, you know, you've got to deal with both. And even when they were saying good things about me, I wasn't paying attention there either. So I kind of... Look, I mean, you know, we mentioned Japan, but it was 4 years of bliss for me. I didn't understand the language, couldn't read the papers, didn't understand TV. I just assumed everyone loved me, mate. So it was a beautiful existence.
It's a very hysterical place at times in the Premier League.
Yeah, but that's all right. But that's... I love that, mate. And you've got to understand where I've come from. I crave this. Like, I was in Australia, and irrespective of what I achieved there, it was never going to barely raise a ripple in general society because of, you know, and all I wanted was attention. Not I should reframe that. Yeah, exactly. Put it this way: the right sort of attention, where everything I did was scrutinised. So, and if I happen to be successful, well, that means actually I've made an impact. You know, that's, who doesn't want that? Or if I'm not going well, okay, people care about that as well. So I love that, but I can see how, you know, if you've been in it for a very long time, it can become fairly, you know, draining and wearing, particularly for managers today. I can see that, you know, where you're kind of, irrespective of what you may or may not have done, you're constantly, you know, that scrutiny is always there, the pressure's never off, there's always somebody under the spotlight, and after a while you might go, I don't know, maybe Jurgen falls into that boat, you go, mate, I've had enough now, I can understand that, but that hasn't been my sort of existence up till now, so I love it, so, but, you know,
What's the most extraordinary thing you've seen written about you or said about you that make you go, wow? Where's that come from?
Yeah, I don't want to say. I'll tell you why I don't want to say, right? Because, you know, when I'm all said and done, and I'm going to write a book because I got some cracking stories, but it's just how sort of, without using the sort of the wrong word, how sort of repetitive some of the things have become in my career of me having sort of answer the same sorts of questions along the way, and that that cycle doesn't seem to change at no point, and it kind of, it still surprises me that you know, that angle is still very very much the prevalent one, even though, you know, like I said, it's kind of been, you know, rinse, recycle, repeat for me a lot of my career, and it's been the same here this year, where a lot of the questions, I think, I think it was Charlie that might have asked me, he said that, you know, something along the lines, do you allow your players to shoot or something? And I had that question when I was at Brisbane Roar, because we kept passing it with tiki-taka and all that. And do you let your players shoot the ball? And I remember when he said it to me, I think I smiled, because I've just gone back 24 years, you know. Which is fair enough, I get it, because for most people it's new. But for me, it's just, yeah, it's been an interesting kind of journey, mate.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.